Let's start our whirlwind tour of the world from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe. Fasten your seatbelt, it's going to get weird. Afghanistan, mountains, deserts, and poetry so powerful, it can make your heart hurt. Seriously, this is the place where survival isn't just a skill, it's an art form. Also, if you ever try their Kabuli Pulau, your life is officially upgraded. Albania, tiny country, big confusion. Here, a nod means no, and a shake means yes. So every conversation is basically a game of guess who, with your life on the line. Algeria is Africa's largest country. It's mostly desert. The Sahara basically owns it. Also, fun fact, don't get lost here because the sand doesn't come with GPS instructions.
Turn left.
Andorra, a country without an airport. Yes, you have to actually work to get there. Either drive up mountains or accept that teleportation is still not invented. Angola, rich in oil and diamonds, but still feels like a loading screen. Some parts of the country, roads are basically suggestions. Antigua and Barbuda, tiny Caribbean paradise. Beaches so perfect you might forget your real problems exist. Also, a good place to practice pretending you're in a music video. Argentina, the land of steak, football, and dramatic flair. If life were a movie, Argentina would write the script, direct it, and eat lunch in the middle of your scene. Armenia, one of the world's oldest civilizations, temples, mountains, history. Everywhere you turn, it's like stepping into a museum that also gives you a workout. Australia. Everything here wants you dead. Spiders, snakes, jellyfish, literally a survival horror game called Real Life, Outback Edition. Also, kangaroos can punch. Stay alert. Austria, not Australia, for the love of Beethoven. Classical music, mountains, schnitzel, basically civilized Europe. Also, the birthplace of Mozart. And people wonder why your piano teacher is intense. Austrian Empire. Historical bonus. The Austrian Empire. Once a massive power in Europe, now just an excuse to confuse history teachers. Imagine being that empire. We own too much land. Let's collapse nicely in 1918. Azerbaijan, where fire literally comes out of the ground. Land of flames, mountains, and carpets that are basically magic. Also, they invented a flame festival that makes every other festival look basic. Baden, historical region of Germany. Used to be a thing before modern borders existed. Now mostly famous for spas and saying, "I was once powerful." Basically Europe's dramatic retirement home. The Bahamas, turquoise water, sandy beaches, and ridiculously photogenic sunsets. Also, technically a country made of islands, which means if you get lost, GPS cries. Bahrain, tiny island nation with giant ambition. Oil-rich, fast development, and somehow a Formula One race in the desert. Fast cars, more sand than your shoes can handle. Bangladesh, dense, vibrant, and full of life. Traffic jams that could qualify as theme park attractions, and rivers that basically run everywhere. If water parks existed naturally, this would be it. Barbados, Rihanna's homeland, obviously. Beaches, reggae vibes, and everyone secretly practicing their music video moves. Also, don't fight the waves, they win. Bavaria, southern Germany's party capital. Beer, lederhosen, and festivals that last longer than most holidays. If Oktoberfest had a personality, it would punch you in the face, with kindness. Belarus, the mysterious land of strict rules and surprisingly beautiful landscapes. Basically Europe, but on hard mode. Belgium, famous for waffles, chocolate, and fighting over fries. Also, Brussels is where big political decisions happen. But let's be honest, the chocolate is more important. Belize, small, tropical, and home to the second largest barrier reef in the world. Snorkel at your own risk. Fish judging your life choices. Benin, birthplace of voodoo and rich West African history. They basically said, we'll invent the coolest spiritual traditions ever. And yes, it's still alive today. Bolivia, home to the world's largest salt flat. Step on it, and suddenly you're a real-life mirror. Instagram photographers, rejoice. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia, mountains, history, and culture stacked like a complicated cake. Also, bridges that survived wars. teaching us that Europe can be dramatic but resilient. Botswana, diamonds, deserts, and wildlife everywhere. Safaris here are basically life-sized National Geographic documentaries. Brazil, football, carnivals, cheese. Come on, Brazil. It's a family show. Brunei, tiny but absurdly wealthy. Oil money, luxury cars, and royalty who probably have more shoes than you've ever owned. Combined. Brunswick and Lüneburg, historical German states. Now, mostly a history book entry, but imagine old Europe. Lots of crowns, castles, and confusing borders. Bulgaria? Yogurt is basically national heritage here. Mountains, beaches, and ancient ruins. But yes, breakfast is sacred. Burkina Faso, Upper Volta. Burkina Faso, literally land of honest people. Also, lots of music, culture, and the occasional confusing colonial history. Because Africa said, why not? Burma, Myanmar. Myanmar, temples everywhere. Buddhist culture plus exotic landscapes plus unpredictable history. Basically spiritual chaos with a view. Burundi, small, landlocked, but full of culture and tradition. Drumming, dancing, and a resilience that says, we may be small, but we matter. And that's Burundi. Cabo Verde, 10 islands floating in the Atlantic like a tropical mirage. Beaches, mountains, and music everywhere. If paradise had a middle name, it would probably be Cabo Verde. Cambodia, temples that look like they came straight out of a fantasy movie. Angkor Wat alone could make your Instagram explode. Also, beware. History here is heavy, but the smiles are powerful. Cameroon, Africa in miniature. Beaches, deserts, forests, mountains, literally everything. You could spend a lifetime exploring and still be like, wait, what else is here? Canada, politeness and wilderness on steroids. Lakes, forests, mountains, and more maple syrup than you'll ever consume. Also, Canadians apologize for existing. It's cute and confusing. Cayman Islands, where the banks are richer than most countries' dreams. Turquoise water, white sand, and financial systems so sleek, they basically sparkle in the sun. Central African Republic, rich in resources, mysterious, and full of wildlife. It's like Africa decided to go wild and forgot to send instructions to humans. Historical note, Central American Federation. It once existed, then decided, nah, split up. History teachers everywhere still cry over this one. Chad, heat, deserts, and landscapes that can melt your soul, literally. Also, yes, the country is actually called Chad.
Oh, Chad.
Don't overthink it. Chile, ridiculously long and narrow, mountains on one side, ocean on the other, and some of the best wine in the world. Also, if you blink while driving, you might miss a climate zone. China, the factory of the world. Billions of people, thousands of years of history, and yes, everything you own was probably made here. Also, pandas, because obviously. Colombia, coffee flows like water here. Mountains, rainforests, culture, and people who dance better than you'll ever try. Also, the sunsets are dramatic for no reason. Thanks, nature. Comoros, tiny volcanic islands in the Indian Ocean. If paradise and chaos had a baby, it would be Comoros. Also, lemurs. Always lemurs. Historical bonus. Congo Free State. Once ruled by Belgium's King Leopold in a way that literally makes your jaw drop. History said, let's get dramatic. Cook Islands, small, tropical, and basically like living in a postcard. Every beach here seems to ask, do you want your mind blown today? Yes. Yes, we do. Costa Rica, pura vida, baby. Rainforests, volcanoes, beaches. Life here is a constant vacation. Also, sloths. Because why not slow down? Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. Côte d'Ivoire, chocolate basically starts here. Beaches, cocoa, music, and culture. If Willy Wonka visited, he'd never leave. Croatia, medieval towns plus crystal clear waters. Game of Thrones fans everywhere, just quietly sobbing in the corners. Also, islands galore. Pack a boat. Cuba, classic cars, salsa, and a feeling that time literally froze in the 1950s. Also, mojitos, a dangerous combination with happiness. Cyprus, split island, but full of beauty. Mediterranean vibes, ancient ruins, and yes, legends say Aphrodite was born here. No pressure, islands. Czechia. Castles everywhere. Beer cheaper than water in some places. Also, Prague, a city so photogenic it basically cries, "Take a selfie," every 2 steps. Historical bonus. Czechoslovakia. It existed, then split peacefully. Europeans said, "We don't need drama, let's just divide." Respect for efficiency. Democratic Republic of the Congo, DR Congo. Huge, chaotic, and packed with resources. Rivers, jungles, and wildlife everywhere. Also, the Congo River is so big you might need a week just to cross it. Basically, nature went overboard here. Denmark, happiest people on the planet. Seriously. They even have a word for cozy happiness. Hygge. Also, babies nap outside in freezing weather. Yes, it's normal here. Parenting level, expert. Djibouti small, desert-like, but strategically massive. Volcanic lakes, salt flats, and Red Sea views. It's like someone squeezed a whole world into a tiny triangle of land. Dominica, nature's theme park. Rainforests, rivers, waterfalls, basically, the island is showing off. If you get lost, congratulations, you're on an adventure. Dominican Republic, beaches, baseball, and music everywhere. Carnival energy 24/7. Also, if someone invites you to dance, just say yes. Survival tip. Historical bonus. Duchy of Parma. Tiny Italian duchy with fancy bread and Parmesan. Yes, literally the origin of your cheese obsession. Also, it's proof that Europe used to be a patchwork quilt of tiny states. East Germany, German Democratic Republic. Ecuador, literally on the equator. Sun overhead? Check. Volcanoes? Check. Llamas looking at you like they own the place? Double check. Also, if you stand on the equator line, science says weird things happen, or maybe that's just Instagram magic. Egypt, pyramids, pharaohs, mummies, basically the original civilization flex. Thousands of years later, and we're still scratching our heads. How did they build that? Aliens? Engineers? History refuses to say. El Salvador. Tiny country, massive personality. Volcanoes, beaches, coffee, and yes, one of the biggest gang prisons. Equatorial Guinea, one of the smallest countries in Africa, but with oil money that punches above its weight. Also, Spanish is the official language. Africa said, surprise, Eritrea. Beaches on the Red Sea, ancient history, and people who survived. Everything. Resilience here isn't a concept, it's a lifestyle. Estonia, Europe's digital wizard. You can vote online, start a business online, basically live online, and your grandma is probably coding. Also, forests cover most of the country, nature vibes included. Eswatini, one of the last absolute monarchies in Africa. Traditional culture plus modern quirks. And yes, their festivals are so colorful, it's basically an Instagram filter IRL. Ethiopia, land of ancient kingdoms, coffee and calendar confusion. Here, the year is different, and even the time on the clock might shock you. Congratulations, you're officially younger. Also, injera is a national treasure. Don't touch it unless you're ready for flavor enlightenment. Historical bonus. The federal government of Germany, 1848 to 49. Basically, Germany said, we're trying democracy, but also kind of panicked. It lasted less than a year, proving that sometimes politics is just a short, lived experiment. Fiji, a paradise of islands, palm trees, and crystal clear waters. Also, coconut trees have opinions here, mainly, you will get hit if you stand under me. This is exactly what your vacation dreams look like. Finland, happiest country on earth. Saunas everywhere, lakes for days, and every winter is basically a snow Instagram filter. Also, they have a word for walking alone in silence and loving it called cavely, teaching peace since forever. France, a mysterious ability to protest.
Huh?
Gabon, rainforest paradise. Wildlife everywhere, monkeys, elephants, and the occasional feeling that nature is judging you. Also, oil makes the economy fancy, but the real crown jewel is the jungle. National motto: we put the wild in wildlife. The Gambia, tiny, river-shaped, and adorable. It's basically Africa's version of a narrow belt. If you blink while driving through it, you might miss the whole country, but the culture and smiles. Can't miss those. Georgia, mountains, wine, and hospitality so strong it might physically overwhelm you. Also, they have a bread-baking ritual called pori that is basically sacred. Warning: leaving without trying it is frowned upon. Germany. I mean the real Germany. Engineering on steroids. Fast cars, faster trains, efficiency that scares the rest of the world. Also, beer festivals that last longer than most countries' holidays. Pro tip: never argue with a German about schnitzel. Ghana, culture central. Music festivals and history stacked on top of more history. Also, gold used to flow like water here, and apparently, the spirit of celebration never left. Historical bonus: Grand Duchy of Tuscany, Italy's fancy patchwork of small states, known for art, culture, and maybe the first gelato. History teachers love this one, and you should too. Greece, mythology, islands, and food that basically tastes like happiness. Democracy started here, so yes, your complaints are rooted in history. And sunsets. Instagram was invented here, in spirit. Grenada, the spice island. Nutmeg everywhere, and if you sneeze, you probably taste it. Also, beaches, friendly people, and small island chaos included. Guatemala, Mayan ruins, volcanoes, and coffee strong enough to punch you awake. Also, markets so colorful, you'll need sunglasses indoors. Guinea, music, culture, and landscapes that scream adventure. Also, iron ore and minerals keep the economy interesting. Guinea-Bissau, small, tropical, and full of islands. If paradise and laid-back vibes had a baby, it would be Guinea-Bissau. Guyana, South America's hidden gem. Rainforests, rivers, and a population that somehow manages to survive mosquitoes the size of your hand. Also, English-speaking South America. Plot twist: Haiti, the first independent Black republic in the world. Also, the island with some of the most resilient people you'll ever meet. And voodoo. Yep. Cultural depth so rich, even Google Maps can't fully explain it. Historical bonus: Hanover. Once a kingdom in Germany, now mostly a history book footnote. Also, it gave the world royalty connections that make Game of Thrones look tame. Historical bonus again: Hanseatic republics. Northern European trade superpowers, basically early capitalism on speed. Imagine medieval shipping CEOs. Merchants wearing cloaks and demanding respect. Hawaii, volcanic islands, aloha vibes, and waves that will either thrill or destroy you. Also, pineapples, hula dancing, and sunsets that make Instagram cry. And yes, surfers. Don't even try to explain why it's so magical, just go with it. Historical bonus: Hesse. Tiny German state with influence bigger than its size. Also, you can thank Hesse for some early military tactics and maybe your European history class headaches. Holy See, the Holy See, basically the Vatican. Smallest country, huge spiritual influence. Also, billions of people are indirectly governed by this tiny patch of land, proving size doesn't matter. Honduras, beaches, jungles, and Mayan ruins. Also, if you love adventure sports, this is basically a playground for adrenaline. Volcanoes, rivers, zip lines, your inner daredevil will thank you. Hungary, thermal baths, paprika, and a language that could probably confuse a computer. Also, Budapest, bridges and lights, so beautiful you'll cry silently. And yes, they invented Rubik's Cube, so technically, everyone owes Hungary a puzzle. Iceland, the land of fire and ice, literally. There are no mosquitoes here. Yes, 0 mosquitoes. Folklore here is serious too. Many locals believe in hidden elves and trolls, and some roads are built around elf homes just to avoid annoying them. Basically, Iceland is like if nature and myth had a peaceful baby. India, home to over 1.4 billion people, more than any other country starting with I. Also, Bollywood makes more movies than literally anywhere else.
What a movie.
Indonesia, the world's largest island nation, with thousands of islands. Java alone has more people than many countries, and the landscape change from beaches to volcanoes is insane. And yes, their flag is basically Monaco's, but slightly different shade. Politics. Iran, ancient Persia vibes. Persians aren't Arabs, different cultures, languages, and traditions. Also, kebabs and cello rice. Here could end wars if diplomacy failed. Iraq, where civilization literally began. Baghdad used to be the largest city in the world back in the Middle Ages. Mesopotamia, the land between rivers, gave the world writing, cities, laws, basically human life as we know it. Ireland, green hills, crazy legends, and pubs that exist because the people invented socializing. And every town somehow has a story or myth older than most countries. Also, remember that its flag is literally the reverse of Ivory Coast's flag, international confusion starter. Israel, tiny country, huge influence. It's loaded with ancient history, powerful religious sites, and modern innovation. The geopolitics here are so complex. Even quiz shows have trouble answering where it starts and ends. Italy, land of pasta, pizza, and everything beautiful. Rome alone has more history per square meter than some entire continents. Also, if there were an Olympic sport for stylish chaos, Italy would take gold every time. Jamaica, land of reggae, jerk chicken, and vibes so chill they practically come with a hammock. Sprinters here are basically superheroes. Thanks Usain Bolt, you've set the bar like ridiculously high. Japan's sushi, technology, and polite chaos all in one package. Trains run so precisely that being 30 seconds late is considered a personal failure. Also, vending machines sell everything, umbrellas, eggs, even sushi, because why not? Jordan, home to Petra, deserts, and history so deep it makes your textbooks feel lazy. Wadi Rum looks like Mars, but with camels. And falafel. Let's just say your taste buds will file a formal complaint if you skip it. Kazakhstan, the 9th largest country in the world, and most of it is basically open space. Step as far as the eye can see, and horses. Everywhere. Also, space launches happen here. Literally, humans go to space from Kazakhstan. No big deal. Kenya, savannas, wildlife, and runners faster than you'll ever be. And yes, the Masai Mara is basically nature's Netflix. Lions, elephants, and drama 24/7. Historical bonus. Kingdom of Serbia/Yugoslavia. Once a country, now a history lesson wrapped in Balkan drama. Borders changed like a complicated board game. And yes, it keeps historians busy. Kiribati, tiny islands in the Pacific that are literally facing the ocean. All of it. Rising sea levels. Yeah, climate change isn't subtle here. Also, the sun rises first here, so technically they start the day before everyone else. Time travel, kind of. Korea, now 2 countries, 1 peninsula, endless cultural pride. K-pop, kimchi, and tech innovation all wrapped into one. Also, let's just say geopolitical tension here could make a thriller movie jealous. Kosovo, one of the newest countries in Europe. Mountains, history, and people who survived centuries of chaos resilience is basically a national sport here. Kuwait, tiny desert nation with massive oil wealth. Also, skyscrapers, luxury malls, and temperatures that make you question why you're outside. Hint, don't go outside in summer. Seriously. Kyrgyzstan, mountains for days, nomadic culture, and horses that basically have VIP status. Eagles fly alongside shepherds, and yurt life is still very much alive. Adventure, culture, epic landscapes equals Kyrgyzstan. Laos, landlocked, tropical, and full of rivers that basically run the show. The Mekong River is like the country's spine, essential and a little dramatic. Also, they have thousands of Buddhist temples, and some of them float in your dreams afterward. Latvia, forests, Baltic beaches, and more castles than you can count. Also, they have a song festival that's basically a singing Olympics. National pride level, expert. Lebanon mountains, Mediterranean coast, and a cuisine that will make your soul weep with joy. Hummus, tabbouleh, and baklava are basically mandatory life experiences. Also, Beirut nightlife, enough said. Chaos and beauty combined. Lesotho, a country inside another country, South Africa surrounds it. Mountains, highlands, and horseback culture everywhere. Historical bonus, Luchu, or the Ryukyu Kingdom. Japan-adjacent, island vibes, and history that refuses to fit in textbooks. Also, they had their own language and culture long before anyone noticed. Liberia, founded by freed American slaves, giving it a unique history twist. Monrovia is named after a U.S. president. Yes, history is weird. Also, tropical forests and resilient people, Liberia keeps it real. Libya, desert everywhere. Seriously, if you love sand, this is heaven. Also, ancient Roman ruins pop up in the middle of the Sahara, like surprises in a chocolate bar. Liechtenstein, tiny, rich, and nestled between Switzerland and Austria. No airports, but fancy castles. Also, basically every citizen could own a Ferrari if they wanted. Wealth is tiny but powerful. Lithuania, Baltic vibes, forests, lakes, and basketball everywhere. Seriously, basketball is basically a religion here. Also, Vilnius has one of Europe's most photogenic old towns, medieval insta-heaven. Luxembourg, small but mighty. Banking, castles, and a population that can cross countries faster than your weekend plans. Tiny country, huge influence, Europe's surprise package. Madagascar.
Go move it. Yeah, I like to.
Lemurs, baobabs, and wildlife that looks like it escaped a cartoon. Also, some plants and animals here exist nowhere else on Earth. Basically, evolution went rogue and we're lucky to witness it. Malawi, the warm heart of Africa. Lake Malawi is huge, colorful, and basically a giant aquarium. Also, friendly people everywhere, your heart might just explode from niceness. Malaysia, jungles, skyscrapers, and food that will ruin every other cuisine for you. Nasi lemak, roti canai, laksa, your taste buds don't stand a chance. Also, Borneo is basically a rainforest planet inside a country. Maldives, literally the blueprint for paradise. Overwater bungalows, turquoise water, and beaches that look photoshopped. Warning, your Instagram account may never recover from this level of perfection. Mali, Timbuktu exists. Yes, it's real. Deserts, music, and history that proves West Africa is full of brainpower and resilience. Also mud mosques. Architecture could hug you, Mollywood. The Malta, tiny island nation with massive history. Nights, beaches, and Mediterranean vibes that scream vacation goals. Also, filming location for Game of Thrones, spoilers included. Marshall Islands, tiny, tropical, and facing rising seas. Atolls, coconut trees, and ocean views that make you question reality. Also, climate change here isn't subtle, it's personal. Mauritania, mostly desert, sand as far as the eye can see, camel rides, nomadic culture, and some of the oldest desert routes on the planet. Also, if you like solitude, this country is next level. Mauritius, volcanic islands with beaches that literally glow. Diving, hiking, sugarcane, and yes, some of the friendliest people on Earth. Also, the dodo bird went extinct here, history's most famous oops. Historical bonus, Mecklenburg-Schwerin. Tiny German duchy with castles, lakes, and aristocrats with serious closet envy. Also, Europe apparently had a phase of really tiny kingdoms, and this was one of them. Historical bonus again, Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Ooh boy, Germany. Seriously? Neighboring duchy with even more castles and drama. Also, one of their princesses married into British royalty. Plot twist. Mexico.
I love Mexican people.
Tacos, tequila, and chaos that's delicious. Beaches, jungles, volcanoes, basically. Your life will be better if you visit. Also, Day of the Dead. Insanely beautiful and slightly spooky. Micronesia, thousands of islands in the Pacific, each one smaller than your imagination. Goon vibes, tropical life, and very little Wi-Fi, your phone will cry. Moldova, Europe's wine kingdom. Underground wine cellars, rolling hills, and vineyards everywhere. Also, if you love quiet, this country is basically meditation with borders. Monaco, tiny, rich, and basically one big luxury car showroom. Formula One yachts and casinos also, the population is mostly rich people. Living here is basically playing life on cheat mode. Mongolia, vast steppes, nomadic life, and horses as far as the eye can see. Also, Genghis Khan happened here, history got intense real fast. Plus, winters that are basically frozen nightmares but stunning. Montenegro, mountains, Adriatic coast, and medieval towns. Nature lovers, you're welcome. Also, tiny but dramatic. One of Europe's best-kept secrets. Morocco, deserts, markets, and colors that will blind you in a good way. Tajin, couscous, mint tea, your taste buds will demand citizenship. Mozambique. Indian Ocean vibes, beaches, and music that makes you want to dance. Also, delicious seafood and history that proves coastal life is superior. Warning: rhythm addiction is real here. Namibia, desert landscapes, diamond mines, and some of the world's most epic sunsets. Also, Etosha National Park is basically nature's version of a reality TV show. Lions, rhinos, and zebras all starring. Warning: your camera will never recover. Historical bonus: Nassau, capital of the Bahamas, known for pirates, beaches, and colonial architecture. Also, yes, rum is practically a national currency, don't ask, just enjoy. Nauru, the world's third smallest country. Tiny, tropical, and once rich in phosphate, now just adorable and isolated. Also, seriously, blink and you might miss it on a map. Nepal, home of the Himalayas and Mount Everest, basically Earth's skyscraper. Also, yaks, trekking trails, and spiritual vibes everywhere. Fun fact: Nepal is the only country with a non-rectangular flag, geometry level, expert. Netherlands canals, tulips, and bikes everywhere. Also, flat land means windmills, cheese markets, and Amsterdam's slightly chaotic charm. Basically, life here is organized, but somehow fun. New Zealand. Mountains, sheep, more sheep than people, and adventure sports that make you scream. Also, Maori culture is alive and thriving, and yes, the haka is terrifyingly powerful. Nicaragua, volcanoes, lakes, and colonial cities frozen in time. Also, surfing on the Pacific coast is basically a rite of passage. If adventure had a country, it would be Nicaragua. Niger, desert, Sahel, and resilience that could fuel 1,000 documentaries. Also, it has a population that thrives despite harsh conditions. Human Sahara equals epic story. Nigeria, Africa's powerhouse. Music, Nollywood, Lagos traffic chaos, and Jollof rice wars. Also, over 200 million people, yes, chaos and energy included for free. Niue, small Pacific island, friendly vibes, and nature that looks photoshopped. Also, one of the world's least visited countries, meaning you could basically have it to yourself. Historical bonus: North German Confederation. 19th century Germany trying democracy and diplomacy, very German, very precise, and surprisingly short-lived. Historical bonus again: North German Union. A stepping stone in German unification, small but crucial. Europeans apparently loved tiny bureaucracies in the 1800s. North Korea, rugged mountains, grand monuments, and a landscape shaped as much by politics as by nature. A tightly controlled state with a powerful identity where history, culture, and government intertwine, proving even the most isolated nations carry complex and compelling stories. North Macedonia, mountains, lakes, and history everywhere you look. Also, ancient sites and vibrant culture prove that small countries can be epic. Norway, fjords, northern lights, and happiness levels that break the charts. Also, skiing, reindeer, and some of the most dramatic landscapes on Earth. Warning: once you visit, you'll never stop comparing every mountain to Norway. Historical bonus: Oldenburg. Tiny German duchy with castles, lakes, and aristocrats flexing before Instagram existed. Also, Europe apparently had a phase where small kingdoms were a thing, and Oldenburg nailed it. Oman, desert dunes, mountains, and coastline that screams adventure. Also, frankincense grows here. Yes, the same stuff from the Bible. Mix ancient forts, wadis, and camels, basically, Arabia in full glory. Historical bonus: Orange Free State.
A 19th century Boer republic in South Africa, short-lived but dramatic. Also, their flag was like a history lesson in fabric form, complicated borders, complicated politics.
Pakistan, some of the world's most epic food. Karachi traffic. Chaos. Lahore's history. Mind-blowing. Also, they have mountains taller than anything most people have seen. Yes, the Karakoram is basically vertical heaven. Palau, tiny Pacific island nation, paradise vibes, and water so blue it hurts your eyes. Also, jellyfish lakes exist here. Yes, you can swim with stingless jellyfish. Nature basically made this country for your Instagram account. Panama, famous for the canal that literally changed global trade. Also, tropical jungles, beaches, and urban chaos collide here. And yes, they have more hats than you'd expect. Fashion optional, adventure mandatory.
Historical bonus, Papal States. Basically the Vatican's ancient empire, powerful, small, and full of drama. Also, popes ruled actual territories. Politics, religion equals maximum chaos.
Papua New Guinea islands, tribes, and languages so diverse you'll need a translator for every village. Also, volcanoes, jungles, and culture that feels untouched by modern life. Wild, vibrant, and epic. Paraguay landlocked, rivers everywhere, and Guarani culture thriving. Also, chocolate and terroir tea are basically a lifestyle here. Small country, but full of character and surprises. Peru, Machu Picchu, Andes, and a cuisine that will haunt your taste buds in the best way. Also, llamas everywhere. And the Amazon rainforest starts here. Nature showing off again. Philippines, 7,000 islands of chaos and paradise. Beaches, volcanoes, jeepneys, and karaoke on every corner. Also, adobo, halo halo, your stomach will never forgive you for leaving.
Historical bonus, Piedmont, Sardinia. Italian unification headquarters before Italy existed, small but crucial. Also, gave the world pizza, or maybe just the inspiration. History is complicated.
Poland, pierogi, history that survived everything, and cities that glow like medieval Instagram filters, and a national resilience that refuses to quit. Polish culture, epic, flavorful, and persistent. Portugal, pastéis de nata, fado music, and explorers who basically circumnavigated the globe for fun. Lisbon streets are steep, colorful, and slightly dizzying, but worth it. Also, seafood is basically a national obsession, and you will not argue with it. Qatar, tiny desert nation, huge oil and gas wealth. They hosted the 2022 FIFA World Cup, proving small countries can throw massive parties.
Historical bonus, Republic of Genoa. Italian maritime powerhouse back in the day, basically the medieval version of a shipping empire. Also, they invented pesto. Yes, that green sauce you can't live without.
Republic of Korea, South Korea, K-pop, kimchi, and tech that will make your smartphone feel embarrassed. Warning, once you watch a K-drama, your life may never recover. Republic of the Congo, jungles, rivers, and wildlife like a nature documentary on steroids. Brazzaville is charming, but the real show is the Congo River. Massive, powerful, and slightly intimidating. Also, if you love biodiversity, congratulations, you just found paradise. Romania, castles, vampires, and mountains that will make your camera weep. Transylvania exists, yes. The Dracula legends are real, or at least marketing genius. Also, painted monasteries and medieval towns. Instagram can't even handle it. Russia, the world's largest country. From Siberian tundra to Moscow's bling, it's basically everything rolled into one epic snowball. Vodka, history, space rockets, and bear sightings. Maybe. Also, the winters are so cold even penguins would complain. Rwanda, land of 1,000 hills and incredible recovery. Volcanoes, lakes, and gorillas you can actually hike to see. Also, cleanest country in Africa, Kigali could basically be a futuristic utopia. Warning, your expectations of hills will never be the same. St. Kitts and Nevis, tiny Caribbean twins, beaches, volcanoes, and sugarcane vibes. Also, if your dream is a tropical getaway with minimal humans, this is it. Fun fact, less than 60,000 people live here, basically a big vacation home. St. Lucia, iconic pitons, rainforests, and resorts that make you question reality. Also, rum beaches equals instant happiness. If paradise were a currency, St. Lucia would be rich. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, tiny island chain, volcanoes, and sailing culture. Also, yes, rum flows like water, and beaches are basically private Instagram filters. Samoa, tropical islands with strong traditions. If you love culture, dance, and turquoise waters, you'll never want to leave. Also, no traffic ever. Except maybe a coconut. San Marino, one of the world's oldest republics. Tiny, perched on a hill, and basically medieval Instagram heaven. Also, citizenship here is exclusive, so pack your charm. Sao Tome and Principe, tiny African island nation, chocolate farms, beaches, and rainforest vibes. Also, your travel bucket list just got cooler. Saudi Arabia, deserts, skyscrapers, and oil that basically runs the planet. Also, Riyadh is futuristic, Mecca is spiritual, and the food, don't even start. Fun fact, camels are still a serious thing here, not just history.
Historical bonus, Schaumburg Lippe. Tiny German principality, castles, lakes, and aristocrats who probably invented microdrama.
Senegal, Dakar vibes, music, and street food that slaps. Also, beaches and cultural richness make it a West African gem. Plus, wrestling is a national sport. Yes, wrestling. Serbia, mountains, rivers, and nightlife that doesn't quit. Also, history. Big, messy, fascinating. Belgrade is basically Europe's party capital, if you know the secret. Seychelles, island perfection in the Indian Ocean. Beaches, reefs, and privacy, so extreme you might actually find yourself. Also, wow, what a beautiful flag. Sierra Leone beaches, mountains, and resilience everywhere. Freetown is vibrant, and the natural beauty is off the charts. Also, history that will blow your mind in less than 5 minutes. Singapore, tiny, ultramodern, and a city-state that basically runs on rules and efficiency. Also, food courts here are national treasures. Laksa. Yes, please. Gardens by the Bay equals futuristic jungle dreams. Slovakia, mountains, castles, and folk culture everywhere. Bratislava is charming, and the Tatras are basically adventure central. Slovenia, lakes, mountains, and forests everywhere. Lake Bled looks like it was painted by Photoshop, except it's real. Also, Ljubljana is surprisingly hip. Solomon Islands, jungles, reefs, and World War II history. Also, if you love adventure and isolation, this is paradise. Somalia, deserts, coastline, and history that's epic and challenging. Also, Mogadishu is vibrant and the culture is rich. Resilience is the theme here. South Africa, beaches, wildlife, and mountains galore. Cape Town is stunning. Kruger National Park is wild, literally. Also, Bryce barbecues are basically national religion. South Sudan, newest country in Africa with dramatic landscapes. Nile, wetlands, and mountains, plus people rebuilding their nation with epic resilience. Spain, tapas, flamenco, and cities that never sleep. Barcelona, architecture. Gaudy level madness. Also, siestas are mandatory, at least culturally. Sri Lanka, tea, beaches, and culture everywhere. Also, elephants, ancient temples, and spices that will haunt your taste buds in the best way. Sudan, deserts, Nile, and ancient pyramids you've probably never heard of. Sudan actually holds the title for the most pyramids in a single country. Did you know that? Suriname. South American rainforests, rivers, and Dutch colonial vibes. Also, biodiversity that will make biologists cry tears of joy. Sweden. IKEA, forests, and innovation on overdrive. Also, fika culture equals coffee, pastries, happiness, basically life perfected. Switzerland, chocolate, mountains, and neutrality for centuries. Also, trains that run like Swiss watches, literally. Syria, ancient cities, culture, and history that is literally thousands of years old. Damascus steel, mosaics, and civilization-level contributions everywhere. Warning: heartbreakingly beautiful and historically intense. Tajikistan mountains that make the Alps look like hills. Hiking, ancient Silk Road history, and nomadic culture everywhere. Also, if adventure had a capital, it would be Dushanbe, pack your hiking boots. Tanzania, Kilimanjaro, Serengeti, and wildlife galore. Also, Zanzibar beaches. Paradise isn't even trying here. Warning: lions might casually photobomb your safari pics.
Historical bonus, Texas. Big, bold, and everything is larger than life. Yes, including the hats. Also, barbecue, cowboy culture, and a population that practically invented bigger is better.
Thailand, street food heaven, temples, and islands that make postcards jealous. Also, Bangkok traffic chaos is legendary. Consider it a cultural experience. Timor Leste tiny, tropical, and rich in culture. Beaches, mountains, and a history that's tough but inspiring. Also, less visited equals instant adventure points. Togo, small West African nation with colorful markets and lively culture. Also, mountains, beaches, and a coastline that will surprise you, tiny but vibrant. Tonga, Pacific paradise with islands, reefs, and royal traditions. Also, whale watching is basically a casual sport here. Fun fact: friendly locals, tropical perfection equals instant happiness. Trinidad and Tobago, carnival, beaches, and music that will make you dance in your living room. Small islands, huge energy. Tunisia, deserts, Mediterranean coast, and history older than your imagination. Carthage ruins, Sahara adventures, and mint tea that will steal your soul. Also, Star Wars filmed here, epic bonus. Turkey, Istanbul bridges Europe and Asia like a pro. Kebabs, bazaars, and history everywhere. Turkish coffee, strong enough to power a small city. Turkmenistan, deserts, gas craters, and cities that look like futuristic fantasies. Also, Ashgabat is blindingly white, sunglasses mandatory. Also, horses here are basically celebrities. Tuvalu, one of the world's tiniest nations. Islands, lagoons, and rising seas. Climate change front row. Fun fact: blink and you'll miss it on a map.
Historical bonus, 2 Sicilies. Southern Italy, islands, and kingdoms that existed before Italy unified. Also, castles and drama. History really loves a plot twist.
Uganda, the pearl of Africa. Mountains, lakes, and gorillas. Yes, real gorillas you can actually see. Also, the source of the Nile. So basically, Uganda flows into history. Ukraine, vast fields, sunflower seas, and history that's been wild for centuries. Kiev is majestic, Lviv is charming, and yes, borscht exists here, life, changing. Also, resilience is basically a national sport.
Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, historical bonus, USSR. Basically a 20th century experiment in epic politics, space race, and cold winters. Also, vodka, cosmonauts, and a nation that kept the world on edge, simultaneously terrifying and fascinating.
The United Arab Emirates, UAE, deserts turned into skyscraper paradises. Dubai and Abu Dhabi are basically the world's glitziest playgrounds. Also, indoor skiing in the desert. Yes, humans are weird and brilliant. The United Kingdom, UK castles, tea, and history that spans centuries. London traffic, chaos, fish and chips, iconic. Also, apparently, everything can be blamed on the Queen or someone in Parliament. United States of America, USA, land of extremes, dreams, and endless highways. From New York skyscrapers to Grand Canyon cliffs, diversity hits every corner. Also, burgers, jazz, Hollywood, and a cultural output so massive it basically exports the world's trends. Warning: everything is bigger here, and yes, the coffee sizes. Uruguay beaches, tango vibes, and mate tea everywhere. Also, Montevideo is chill, and football here is basically religion. Tiny country, huge personality. Uzbekistan, Silk Road Central. Samarkand, Bokhara, and deserts that hide centuries of history. Also, architecture here is basically a neon dream of tiles, domes, and domed dreams. Vanuatu, Pacific island nation with 83 islands of classic tropical vibes, beaches, jungles, volcanoes, everything. But here's the twist. Locals perform land diving, jumping off wooden towers with vines tied to their ankles, and scientists think this inspired modern bungee jumping. Venezuela, the land of angelic waterfalls and lightning that never quits. Also, in 2026, Venezuela celebrated winning the World Baseball Classic and declared a national holiday. Sports chaos, unity, and confetti everywhere. Vietnam, a country where the streets are ruled by motorbike traffic that looks like controlled chaos, and the natural world plays the ultimate flex. First, this place is home to the largest cave in the world, San Dung Cave. Also, it exports more coffee than almost anywhere else. Sorry, Starbucks, you're late to the game. Also one of the world's largest pepper exporters. So yes, your pepper shaker probably originates from here. So if you ever find yourself stuck in a cave, sipping coffee surrounded by motorbikes at sunrise, congratulations, you're in Vietnam.
Historical bonus. Württemberg. Tiny German
Okay, Germany. Let's deal with it.
kingdom with castles, vineyards, and more aristocrats than Instagram influencers. Also, they were basically the chill cousin of Bavaria, polite, organized, and secretly plotting politics behind teacups. Fun fact. Württemberg literally gave the world the spatzel. Yes, noodles so soft they could double as a pillow. Also, if you love royal drama, Württemberg had dukes and kings juggling alliances like it was reality TV.
Yemen mountains, deserts, and architecture that looks like it came straight out of a fairy tale. Sanaa's old city. Thousands of years old and still standing. Basically the OG skyscrapers made of mud bricks. Fun fact. Socotra Island here looks like an alien planet, literally trees that look like umbrellas from space. Zambia, home to some of the most epic waterfalls on the planet. Yes, Victoria Falls, or as locals call it, the smoke that thunders. It's so massive it creates its own rain cloud. Also, Zambia is full of wildlife, national parks, and sunsets so intense your camera might quit in protest. Zimbabwe, more waterfalls, more wildlife, and more ancient history. Victoria Falls actually straddles Zimbabwe too, double the epicness. Also, Great Zimbabwe Ruins. Massive stone cities built without mortar. Proof that humans were basically building skyscrapers before steel was cool. And that's it. Every country from A to Z, from Afghan mountains to Zimbabwean waterfalls, tiny islands, huge deserts, historical kingdoms, and futuristic cities, the world proves one thing. It's endlessly wild, beautiful, and absolutely hilarious if you look closely enough. Don't forget to subscribe for more wild content.